I have watched empires rise from dust and return to it. I have seen mountains ground to sand by the patient wind. I have heard the first cries of civilizations and their last whispered words. In my 2,000 years, I have witnessed every war, every invention, every love story, every heartbreak. And I have seen you, not you specifically, but this feeling you carry, this sense of being adrift, unmoored. The ground beneath your feet has shifted, the map you were following has been torn, and you stand at a crossroads, uncertain of the path ahead. A new job, a lost love, a change in your body, a crisis of faith. You call it a life transition. You feel you are the first to walk this path. You feel uniquely lost. But I am here to tell you that this feeling is as old as humanity itself. It is the sacred, terrifying, and beautiful space between who you were and who you are becoming. What if I told you that the map to navigate your change is not lost? What if I told you it is already written, etched into the philosophies of ancient Greece, whispered in the monasteries of the East, chanted in the ceremonies of indigenous tribes, and even confirmed by the scientists of your modern age? Stay with me. Let the noise of your world fall away. For a short while, let an old voice be your guide. Together we will uncover the timeless wisdom for life's great changes. Before you can face the storms of the world, you must build a fortress within yourself, a place of strength and clarity that no external event can conquer. The great thinkers of ancient Greece, the ones I knew as young men wrestling with the same questions you do, they called this the pursuit of an inner citadel, and its foundation is built with one simple yet profound command: know thyself. This was the wisdom of Socrates. He understood that most human suffering comes from living an unexamined life, from moving through the world according to the scripts others have handed you. A transition is a forced pause. It is the universe handing you a mirror and demanding you truly look. Who are you without your job title? Who are you without that relationship? What beliefs are truly yours and which have you merely borrowed? I once knew a merchant in Athens. His ships, his wealth, his entire identity were lost in a single storm at sea. He was ready to end his life, but instead he began to ask questions as Socrates had taught. Was I my wealth? Or was I the man who earned it? What virtues did I use to build my fortune? Courage? Discipline? Can those be lost in a storm? In answering these questions, he did not recover his ships, but he discovered himself. He became a philosopher, far richer in wisdom than he had ever been in gold. So I ask you to do the same. Take a piece of paper or simply a quiet moment. Ask yourself, what assumption about my life has this transition shattered? And what truth has it revealed? Do not seek an easy answer. The questioning itself is the beginning of wisdom. Once you begin to know yourself, you must learn to master your reactions. This is the wisdom of the Stoics, the slave Epictetus, the statesman Seneca, the emperor Marcus Aurelius. They taught a simple, powerful truth. Some things are within your control and most are not. You cannot control the storm, but you can control the set of your sails. You cannot control what others say or do, but you can control your judgment of it. You cannot control the fact that change happens, but you can control how you respond. This is the dichotomy of control. During a transition, your mind will scream that everything is a catastrophe. The Stoic whispers, man, this event truly harming me, or is it my reaction to it that is causing the pain? The next time you feel overwhelmed by an event, practice this. Pause. Before you react, create a space. Analyze. Ask yourself, what part of this situation is truly in my power? Is it the event itself? Number. It is your next thought, your next action. Focus all your energy there on that small patch of ground you command, and you will find an unshakable peace. Finally, the great Aristotle taught that the goal of life is not fleeting happiness, but eudaimonia, a state of human flourishing. This flourishing does not come from external success, but from building a virtuous character. Think of yourself as a sculptor, and your character is the stone. Every day, every choice is a strike of the chisel. A transition is a moment when the sculptor must be most skillful. Will you carve with recklessness or cowardice? Or will you find the virtuous mean, the courage that lies between them? Will you act with indulgence or deprivation? Or will you find the temperance that lies in the middle? These virtues, courage, temperance, justice, wisdom, are not qualities you are born with. They are skills you cultivate through habit. By practicing them, especially when it is difficult, you build a character that is a masterpiece, a source of stability that no life change can ever take from you. To build an inner citadel is vital. But what if your transition is not just a storm to be weathered? What if it is part of a larger, sacred journey? For millennia, humans have found profound peace by seeing their personal story as a chapter in a much greater narrative. The Christian mystics like Augustine understood this deeply. He spoke of the restless heart, the part of every human that is always seeking something more. He saw his own dramatic life changes, from a life of indulgence to one of deep faith, not as mistakes, but as necessary steps on his soul's pilgrimage toward God. From this perspective, your struggle is not meaningless. It is a crucible designed to purify your character, to test your faith, to burn away what is not essential, and to guide you closer to your ultimate purpose. The challenge is not an obstacle on the path. The challenge is the path. It is an invitation to participate in a divine plan, to grow into a more loving, more complete being. The indigenous peoples of the world never needed to write this down in books. They saw this truth written in the world around them. No tree clings to its leaves in winter. No river fights its path to the sea. They understand that life is a series of cycles, and to live in harmony with the world is to accept and honor these changes. They did not leave their young to navigate the transition to adulthood alone. They created powerful rites of passage. A young person would be sent into the wilderness on a vision quest to face solitude, hunger, and fear. They did this not as a punishment, but as a gift. In the crucible of that challenge, stripped of everything familiar, they would receive a vision for their life, a purpose that would guide them. They would leave a child and return an adult, their new identity forged in the sacred space of transition and welcomed by their community. The first peoples of Australia speak of the dreaming, or the everywhen. It is a timeless dimension where the past, present, and future are all connected. Their ancestral spirits did not just create the world in the past, they are alive in the land today. A river is not just water, it is the path of an ancestor. A rock is not just stone, it is a story. When you understand this, your personal transition is no longer an isolated, terrifying event. It is part of a songline, an ancient story that connects you to all who came before and all who will come after. You are not alone. You are held within a timeless, sacred web of existence. Your rite of passage is here now. You may not be able to go into the wilderness for days, but you can do this. Find a place in nature, a park, a forest, a beach. Leave your phone behind. Walk in silence for 1 hour. Do not try to solve your problems, simply observe. Watch the way the light falls. Notice the resilience of a weed growing through concrete. Feel the wind, which has traveled farther than you can imagine. Connect your small story to the great story of the earth. You will find that nature holds a quiet wisdom that your anxious mind has forgotten. The mind of the West often seeks to control the world, to build fortresses against the storm. The mind of the East seeks a different path. It does not try to stop the river of change. It learns to build a boat and navigate it with grace. It learns the art of flow. The Buddha taught that the root of all suffering is attachment. We suffer because we cling to things as if they were permanent, in a universe where nothing is. This is the truth of impermanence. Your youth, your job, your relationships, even your own body, they are all in a constant state of flux. A life transition is simply a moment when this truth becomes impossible to ignore. You are suffering not because things are changing, but because you are trying to hold on to a river. The tighter you clench your fist, the more the water slips through your fingers. The path to peace is not to stop the change, but to stop the clinging. To observe the flow of your life, the good and the bad, with a calm, mindful awareness. This is not a tragedy. It is an opportunity to find a peace that does not depend on things staying the same. This leads us to the Taoist wisdom of Wu Wei. It is often translated as non-doing or effortless action. It does not mean to be lazy or passive. It means to stop struggling against the current. Think of a boatman on a great river. A foolish boatman rows with all his might against the current, exhausting himself and going nowhere. A wise boatman uses the current, steering with subtle, effortless movements, and travels a great distance with ease. During your transition, you are trying to row against the current. You are forcing outcomes, resisting what is, and creating immense friction and exhaustion. Wu Wei asks, where are you fighting the flow? What would happen if you simply put down the oars for a moment, trusted the current, and focused only on steering? This is the art of navigating change with grace and power. Ask yourself this simple question each day. What is one thing I can let go of trying to control today? It may be another person's opinion, a future outcome, or a past regret. In letting go, you do not lose power, you gain it. The ancient sages of India gave a beautiful map for life's journey called the ashramas, the 4 stages of life. First, the student focused on learning. Second, the householder focused on family, career, and society. Third, the hermit, a time of gradual withdrawal and spiritual reflection. And fourth, the renunciate, complete devotion to spiritual liberation. This model teaches a profound lesson. Change is not a crisis, but a natural and purposeful progression. Every stage has its own duties, its own joys, and its own wisdom. It gives you permission to let go of a previous stage. You are not failing as a householder when you feel the call to become a hermit. You are succeeding. This framework allows you to embrace aging and change not as a loss, but as the next sacred step on your journey toward freedom. In the last few centuries of my long life, I have watched you awaken to a new and staggering realization. You looked to the heavens and found no pre-written script for your life. You looked within and found no fixed essential self. And in that terrifying silence, you discovered your greatest power, your freedom. The existentialist philosophers gave voice to this. Jean-Paul Sartre declared that existence precedes essence. This means you are not born a hero, a victim, a success, or a failure. You are simply born. You exist. It is through your choices, your actions, your commitments that you create who you are. A life transition is a moment when this truth is laid bare. Your old essence, your identity, has dissolved. You are left in a state of pure existence, pure freedom. And you are, as Sartre said, condemned to be free. You cannot escape the responsibility of choosing who you will become next. The temptation is to fall into bad faith, to pretend you are not free, to blame your circumstances, to conform to what society expects, to live a borrowed life. Authenticity is the courage to face the void and create your own meaning. It is the leap of faith into the unknown, committing to a path that is truly your own. Identify one decision you are facing right now, big or small. Now separate it into two paths: the path of expectation, what others want, what you should do, and the path of authenticity, what you, in your deepest self, truly choose. Take one small step today on the path of authenticity. This is how you begin to create your own essence. And what if your transition was born from trauma, from a shattering loss? For ages, wisdom traditions have known that the deepest wounds can lead to the greatest strength. Your modern psychologists have now given this a name: post-traumatic growth. They have studied it, measured it. They have confirmed that people who struggle through great adversity can emerge with a deeper appreciation for life, more meaningful relationships, a greater sense of personal strength, and a profound spiritual development. The pain does not disappear, but it becomes part of a new and more beautiful whole. Like the art of kintsugi, the cracks are not hidden. They are illuminated with gold, a testament to the fact that you are more beautiful for having been broken. Do not force this growth. It comes in its own time, but you can invite it. Tonight, before you sleep, reflect on the challenge you are facing and ask, what strength have I discovered in myself through this struggle that I never knew I had? Acknowledge it. Honor it. That is the gold in your cracks. We have traveled far together, from the agora of Athens to the mountains of Japan, from the Australian desert to the laboratories of your modern world. And what have we found? The Stoic, the Buddhist, the Christian mystic, the Indigenous elder, the existentialist, the psychologist. They are all standing on the same mountain, pointing to the same moon. Their languages are different, but their wisdom converges on a single luminous path. First, look inward. The unexamined life is not worth living. Know thyself. Second, let go. Resistance to the flow of life is the source of all suffering. Accept what you cannot control. Practice the art of effortless action. Third, build your core. Cultivate a character of virtue and resilience. This is the inner citadel that will keep you safe in any storm. Fourth, find the meaning. See your transition not as a random crisis, but as a sacred journey, a crucible for growth, an opportunity to create your authentic self. And finally, connect. You are not alone. Connect with nature, with your community, with the timeless story of humanity. You are part of a whole far greater than your individual self. The change you are facing is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It is not an ending. It is a becoming. You are not lost. You are on a path walked by every human who has ever drawn breath. Walk it with courage. Walk it with wisdom. Walk it with an open heart. The universe is not happening to you. It is happening through you. Now, what will you create?